Good morning once again. I'm Ruby Punani, and today we'll do about latent heat of vaporization. In the previous video we did about latent heat of fusion, and now it is latent heat of vaporization. Now, what is boiling? It is conversion of liquid into gas on heating. जब हम किसी लिक्विड को, स्पेशली अगर आप वाटर का एग्जाम्पल लें, जब हम उसको गर्म करना शुरू करते हैं तो आफ्टर सम टाइम इट स्टार्ट्स टू बॉयल, एंड ऑन बॉइलिंग steam starts to rise from its surface. Now, what is happening? Let's study the reason. On increasing the temperature of a liquid, its particles gain more kinetic energy and start moving even faster. In the previous lecture, when we began with this chapter, we learned that solids particles have very less kinetic energy. On the other hand, liquids particles have more kinetic energy. Now, when we heat a liquid, that kinetic energy even increases further. Now, let's continue. At a certain temperature, a point is reached when the particles have enough energy to break free from the forces of attraction and start changing into gas. Now, this means that once the liquid particles gain more kinetic energy, the attraction force between the particle becomes weak. Now they can go away from each other also, and this is how a liquid changes into a gas. There is very popular activity associated with it. I'll read out. Boiling of water in a beaker and observing the temperature changes. Look at the diagram, please. Again, there is a stand, there is a burner, there is a wire gauze, and there is a beaker capped over the stand, tripod stand. But in this case, we have, instead of taking ice, we take water, simple tap water or pure water, distilled water available in the lab if possible, and we start heating that water. There's a thermometer suspended so as to note the temperature changes. Now, what is the observation of the person who's performing this experiment? When we start heating water, it is at room temperature, around 22 to 25 degrees Celsius. Its temperature starts rising and it reaches 100 degree. मीन्स जब हम पानी को गर्म करना शुरू करते हैं उस वक्त उसका टेम्परेचर अराउंड 25 डिग्री होता है. जैसे जैसे अगर हम उसको हीट करते रहते हैं उसका टेम्परेचर 100 तक पहुंच जाता है. नाउ देयर इज अ सरप्राइज. दिस टेम्परेचर नाउ डज नॉट चेंज, इट रिमेन्स 100. नाउ लेट्स रीड फ्रॉम द स्लाइड. वाटर स्टार्ट्स चेंजिंग इनटू स्टीम, बट टू आवर सरप्राइज वी फाइंड that the temperature remains 100 only, even if we keep on heating. चाहे हम इस वाटर को 10 मिनट 15 मिनट जितनी देर मर्जी गर्म करते रहें, हीट तो पानी एब्जॉर्ब कर रहा है, लेकिन टेम्परेचर 100 पर ही बना रहता है फॉर अ वेरी वेरी लॉन्ग टाइम, till the whole water is converted into steam. Now, why is this happening? We are heating, still the heat is not seen. Now, this heat is heat of vaporization, and it is called as latent heat of vaporization. We learned the word latent, which means hidden. Let's read the reason. The temperature of water remains 100 degrees Celsius even though we continue to heat the beaker, because this heat gets used up on changing the state of substance by overcoming the force of attraction between the particles. Basically, the heat which remains hidden is actually trying to overcome the force of attraction between the particles. The water vapors produced have more energy than water at the same temperature because they have absorbed extra heat in the form of latent heat of vaporization. Water vapors में और भी ज़्यादा हीट है, और लेकिन वो दिखाई नहीं देती है. और इसी से लिंक्ड एक क्वेश्चन पूछा जाता है बहुत बार कि वाई स्टीम कॉजेज स्वीयर बर्न्स in comparison to water at the same temperature. So the reason is that steam contains extra heat in the form of latent heat of vaporization, which is not seen on thermometer, but it is there with steam. And let's remember, latent heat of vaporization of water is 22.6 into 10 raised to power 5 joules per kilogram. With that, today's lecture is over. Thank you for listening.